and let's talk about moksha. And really, in the interest of time, two things would be nice to hear from you. And I'll interrupt you in between if there is any clarification. But two things. One is, in your view, what is the simple definition of moksha? And then, why should even one focus on moksha? Because that is what is commonly told. Think about moksha. That is the final. So why should even one think about moksha? So those are the two. Let's spend the next 20 minutes on that. And then we will, in between, I'll interrupt you if you're okay, just to clarity.
Yeah, actually, moksha is a very big topic to cover,
Yeah.
and I will try my best to just bring in the highlights of what it is. um, like everybody wants happiness, they
Mm.
don't want even an iota of sorrow. So everybody is struggling for this, and nobody asks why happiness, because this is an end in itself, you know. So in moksha, what it is said is there is a kind of permanent bliss. It moksha
Mhm.
means, basically moksha means, it's a Sanskrit word which it says munch. Munch means to freedom. It's a freedom. So, but does it mean a freedom to do whatever you want, as you wish you can live? That is not the kind of freedom the moksha is talking about. The kind of moksha is, the freedom in moksha is very specific. So it's a freedom from, the kama, krodha, all I mean, the anger, the desires, whatever you have, the negativity which is in you, to free yourself from that itself is a moksha. So that is a big struggle, actually. It's not an easy thing to get. So that is why we have the purusharthas, through which, when we follow it to a certain extent, we can try to develop these kind of a kind of this kind of attitude, or this kind of this thing within you. So having said that, um, many people think, moksha means going to heaven, and then you're enjoying there for all your good deeds.
Yeah.
Then you But again, here once again the Bhagavad Gita says, chide punye martya lokam vishanti. Once your bank balance of your punya is over, you come back to this earth. And then you go to the naraka to enjoy, I mean, to suffer your all that is there. So this cycle is going on and on. So the breaking of this cycle, to jump out of the cycle to go to a place of permanent bliss, is called moksha. So it's just like how you put a child in the school. That you don't want the child to remain in the school forever. The child has to graduate to come out wiser. Similarly, we are given the platform of this creation, so that the jiva doesn't get immersed in the samsara, and it comes out of it to enjoy it. So actually, moksha, many people don't understand the aspect of moksha. But the shastras say you can get a glimpse of moksha even in this very samsara. How? See, there are three states a man goes through: a wakeful state, a dream state, and a deep sleep state. There are the
Mm-hmm.
three states which a man goes through every day. So the wakeful state is a state when all your sense organs are awake, and you're feeling the emotions, you're feeling the
Mm-hmm.
sorrows, you're feeling the joys, everything is there. Then what happens when you go to the dream state? The sense organs are sleeping, they are all put to sleep, only the mind is still alert.
Yeah.
So when the mind is alert, still when you go through the dreams, sometimes you get a horrible dream, a very bad dream, when you get a good dream. So accordingly you react. Within you there is some reaction. Still the emotions are there. But when you go to deep sleep state, that is the state you really enjoy. You forget the entire world. You're in your own self. So
Mm-hmm.
Shastras say that is the state of mind which you should develop even during your wakeful state. So that why that happens is, during the deep sleep state, you don't have that aspect of me and mine. We are
Mm-hmm.
totally, see, we may have some sorrows, we may have some body pain, we may have some disease, suffering some disease, but all that is forgotten during that deep sleep state. So when you get up, you say, oh, I had a very refreshing sleep, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we say. So what was that enjoyment, what was that feeling, what was that you enjoyed that time? So that is the bliss of moksha, which the shastras say is there within you, and you have to realize that. So actually we have to ask a few questions to ourselves, you know. Like, see, we as we grow old, the physical body is growing,
Mm-hmm.
it's growing taller, it's growing fatter, but still the self, the feeling of I is still within us.
Mm-hmm.
Although we are growing from childhood to youth to old age,
Mm-hmm.
the body may be growing, but still there's one feeling I which never changes within you. Same way, emotions, you may be angry, you may be sad, but still, even during the emotions, the feeling of I which is within you never changes. Your emotions only change.
So true.
Same,
Yeah.
yeah, same way, even with habits. Sometimes you may have a habit, and you would have changed the habit as you grow, but still the I factor which is within you doesn't change. So this, who is this I? The awareness of that I, you know, that's what they say. You must get awareness of this I. For that, all the struggle of this dharma charana, whatever we call dharma, all this is followed just for that final realization of that I, you know. They say the I has two covers. One is called the paramachadika, and one is called the jiva chadika.
Mm-hmm.
So what these two covers do is, the paramachadika cover on the I, which is natural, it's inborn along with the atma. So when it's inborn with the atma, it prevents you to have the to perceive the divinity in everything. It doesn't allow you to perceive the divinity in everything. And the swarupa chadika doesn't allow you to see that bliss which is already within you.
Mm-hmm.
So these two covers, no, this is called the Agyana covers, which
Mm-hmm.
have to be removed. So just like you have a cover on a light or a lamp, when you remove that, then it glows brightly from within, but the cover was hiding that flame, I mean the light from the lamp, you know. So similarly, all these procedures of these disciplines inculcated in the scriptures, the definite methodology is only intended to remove to remove this ignorance from the jiva, so that it realizes its full nature of blissful self. And the shastras, you know, this they say you can, you with effort you can do it, with the grace of god. So the grace of god is very essential for you to, how much ever you try, along with that, this gratitude helps you to get the grace of god. All these, this dharma charana which we were talking about, the purusha dharma, the Stree Dharma, all the pancharunas, all these things are small small things which we do to help us to earn the grace of god, so that we realize this personal self of the true blissful self within, which is within us, you know. So we have to, that wisdom should come from within us. So that is moksha actually. And in fact, some schools of thought, they say that there is a geographic cosmos, in the cosmos, in the universe, there is a geographical destination for moksha.
Mm-hmm.
It is not just a realize self realization and
Mm-hmm.
god realization.
Yeah.
Along with that, it promises a land
Mm-hmm.
where there is absolutely uncontaminated, unpolluted.
Mm-hmm.
And this is discussed in the vedas. It is, so many parts of the vedas discuss this matter, this place of moksha. And in the bhagavata second skanda, where the lord bhagavan himself describes this cosmos, this geographical destination, to Chaturmukha Brahma. He describes to Chaturmukha Brahma about this destination, where it is absolutely a place without no contamination, no pollution of the mind, the body, and the soul. All, everything is absolutely pure. and that's where you enjoy. The enjoyment is so much there. There is so much of greenery, there is so much of the birds, everything whatever we see in the universe around us there, but it's pure blissful self, the blissful
Mm-hmm.
thing we can enjoy there. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they say in moksha. So having said that, so one of the reasons to focus on moksha is, if you're really, you when you have the faith, you believe, okay, you try for that, you try with these are the steps to, there are so many dharma charanas you do, and these are the steps which finally takes you to moksha. But another aspect, what you said, why focus on moksha, so why focus on moksha is, see, we can just say being a good human, focusing just on actions of which benefit the society, like serving the poor or giving danas, and all this is more than enough. Why follow all these scriptural injunctions? What is the necessity? So are just rules and regulations not good enough for the society? Why all these dharma and adharma and all these things, so for that, my answer would be, first we must know what is the basis of our belief,
Mm.
because the rules and regulations, they have their own limitations, I feel, because what is right for one person may be wrong for another person. Like one country, it may be right for one country, but it'll be wrong for another country. So who's going to decide who is right and who's
Mm.
wrong?
Mm.
So then finally they have to go to the international court of law to settle their matter. So that means the right and the wrong should be absolute. It shouldn't be relative, it cannot be relative. So in that sense, if you take the agamas, the shastras, they give definite definitions about dharma and adharma, and you just follow it. I feel like, you can focus on higher values of life in that way. Like another thing is, when we focus on moksha, what happens is, it gives you a guidelines how to live in this life.
Mm.
Like karma, see, bhagavad gita says, nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarma krit. That
Mm-hmm.
means karma is inevitable, at physical level, mental level, through speech, whatever you say, but the karma keeps on happening within you. So that could be a good karma or a bad karma, it could be both. So and one more thing it says is, jata se hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So
Yeah.
death, birth, and death are a cycle of it's dharma of this universe, so you cannot escape it. So when these two things are there, you have to do karma, you have no choice, and this death is the inevitable, they have no choice. So what is then, when you have to just pause there and think, what is all this, what is the meaning of all this? Then just mere being good to the society, is it enough, or does it have something more? Should I contribute something more than that to the society and to myself, for my own elevation? So when you think of that, there are so many things, like, when the karma aspect itself, first of all, they say the karma should become a yoga. See, whatever action you're doing, I told you
Yeah.
earlier that it can become a divine act, a spiritual
Yeah.
act. So when the karma itself has to become a yoga, then definitely then your good actions will mean something to the
Mm.
society. But if it's not going to be an yoga, if it's just going to be just for your, I am good, I am just good, just, or just to show to the community I am good, if it's just going to limit yourself only to that, then that will not, because the attitude of a karma is very important, I had already mentioned in that. So in that way, the attitude of the karma is very important, means, like, so how do we make this karma into a yoga? So we think in those lines. So when we think in those lines, like, how can I say, uh, s- see, you have to live in this samsara, means you have to get into the worldly interactions, are definitely that is there. But just like how you get into the, if you want to cross a river, you take a boat so that you don't get wet in the water, or you get don't drown in the water. Similarly, when you want to cross the samsara, you have to cross the samsara. The karma yoga helps you without getting drowned in the samsara. This karma yoga helps you. So what is actually this karma yoga? It is nothing but wherever you're stationed in life,
Mm-hmm.
whichever duty you're given in life, as a mother, as a sister, as a brother, as a father, as an employee, as a whatever, wherever you're stationed in life. But you have multiple roles, you're not having only one role. You're a father, at the same time you're an employee, you're a brother, you're a son. So many aspects are there, so every role, how you perform, how you perform, and that action itself, as like again seeing divinity in every action. So when you live in this respect, not with selfish motives, when you live with the unselfishly, when you with sincerity, when you dedicate these actions to God, then that becomes brings internal harmony in you, first of all. So this karma yoga helps to build that internal harmony, and this in turn will help you to build a good society. So focusing on being a good human, serving the society, all this is included in this. So when you're aiming for a higher goal, the smaller goals automatically are included in that higher goal. So always the scriptures are giving us a very high goal. Just like, see, we see the pole star. The
Yeah,
ship cannot We cannot go to the pole star, but the ship follows the pole star. It won't miss it, gone get lost in the high seas. When it's in the sea, the ship doesn't lose its way. So similarly, these high guidelines of karma yoga or jnana yoga, or knowing about God, being in Adhyatma, these high goals are set by the scriptures, high benchmarks are given to you, just so that you don't slip from your right path of living. So these are the things. When your moksha is your goal, see, you may not be able to do it immediately. Karma yoga won't just come offhand to you just by thinking, but it's a very slow process. But still, if you have the goal, slowly you can develop it. This kind of lifestyle, these principles can be adopted, and there's less chance of you slipping from the path of right living. So that is why I feel there's all these injunctions, all these whatever is being told by the shastras, and having such a high goal of moksha is very essential, so that it channelizes the human life. Because human life is, they say, is see, there are 84 lakh species of life species are there. In that, only human can think in this way. No other species, all the other 83 lakh 99,099 species cannot think in this way. Only the human can. So when he's given you so much intelligence and so much of uh, thinking power, I think all these things should be inculcated in us. And when we want to live in this when we follow this karma yoga, automatically adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha, all these principles we start applying in our life. No malice towards anybody,
correct.
compassion. See, these things are all again, once again, coming back to the human values, no, compassion. And then no ego about your wealth, about your studies, your behavior. You tend to get an ego and all these things. And then your mind is able to restrain your mind, forgiving nature. These are all the karma yogas. When you're following these things, automatically your karmas fall into that divine category, what you call it, like the yoga. And uh, and then finally realizing your limitations. That is one important thing. You have to realize your limitations and God's omnipotence and get rid of that ahankara which is in you. So all these helps when the benchmark is so high about moksha. So I think slowly these things sets into your life. And finally, that Krishna says, no, my arpita mano buddhi, you develop that
Mm-hmm.
buddhi, where everything is placed under his feet, surrender under his feet. like they say, this cannot happen just in one life. It bahunam janmanam ante, so but
Correct.
slow
Yeah.
practice. Just like we cannot expect a kindergarten child to get his PhD just over no fast, like a fast food, just over a period of few months or years. She has to go through the struggle to get to that final goal. When she's in the kindergarten, imagine the struggle. Everybody knows the struggle, what it goes through to get their final. After that also, there is so much of they want to study and do so many things. It's not an easy life. The better. Similarly, in this, when we are thinking of such deep about adhyatma, this thing, then we definitely, there is but one assurance Krishna gives, where he says, yoga brashto na jayate, in this journey. See, in material world, there is a lot of difference. We'll be in a course of action. Suddenly we plan to change the course of action. Now sometimes children, they do to a certain level, they'll be doing engineering, and suddenly they want to just get do something else. No, they want to stop that and go to an. So whatever they are done till there for that engineering, it doesn't help them in the other field. But in this scriptural knowledge, in this adhyatma knowledge, the Krishna assures, yoga brashto na jayate. So the little step, even a little step of as I said, even brushing the teeth, you think of divinity in that. So even those small steps will take you, carry you far, really far. So over, when you keep doing it, he over the janmas, it gets accumulated. These things get
Wonderful.
accumulated, and finally this that state comes where that realization of that I, realization of the divinity, all that comes to you through these dharma charanas. So this is
Excellent. Excellent. So I'm so glad you linked it back to that state of our daily activities. And there's a few nuggets that you described, which I think I would just wrap this up, summarizing those. Um, Clearly, experiencing moksha in your current life can be done in the example you gave of waking state, dreaming state, deep sleep state. And I love when Mandukya Upanishad actually describes that, where you get
Mhm.
into Prajnanam
Exactly.
Brahma over there, right? In that deep
Exactly.
sleep state. So clearly, that's a very classic example of how you can experience moksha or the feeling of moksha in that
Mhm.
state. And then your other aspect of having our Paramarthika, Vyavaharika knowledge covered and taking out the lid so that you experience it is clearly the
Mhm.
other aspect of it where you strive to it. I really loved your statement about um, gratitude gets you to grace, and I think that is, to me, at the end of the day, that is what lets you into moksha, the definition of moksha. You are in a mode of gratitude all the time,
Mhm.
and as we all know, as no matter if any higher state has to be achieved, it is through grace. So gratitude gets you to
To
that
that
aspect of
grace.
grace. And the last one, which if I were to summarize your entire discussion, was the need to focus on moksha is not because keep always your eye on it, but because you have set your goal as moksha, or you want to live to that life of getting to that state, you automatically channel every other aspect of your life in that direction. Now, whether you get in that direction or not, when you get to it, as you
Mhm.
said, is it in this life or multiple lives, whatever it is, that's not in our hands. But the
Mhm.
point is, you channel your journey in that direction, and that should at least, whether it is in this life or not, but in the present life at least, it should let you live a life of, I would say, more peacefulness versus happiness. At least you
Mhm.
are content with what you're doing by targeting to that extent there. And finally, in closing, I agree with you. Every step you take, baby step you take, and that links back to what we spoke in Stree Dharma. Just
Mhm.
because a mother or a woman or a girl has not started doesn't mean they cannot start. Just because you haven't lighted a lamp waking up in the morning till now doesn't mean you cannot start doing that tomorrow. So every step has a cumulative aspect to it as you keep going on this path. Very wonderfully said, Ma. I think that's a much more good primer of moksha versus going too deeper. I think folks can relate to it, can
Mhm.
take some action to it, and then follow that. I know we are a little over than an hour today, but that is fine. I think this topic required that depth. Any closing comments? Any thoughts before we close this and wrap this up?
Yeah, that is the only thought, I would like to say is, like, as I said, every action should be with Bhagavad Bhakti, Bhagavad Preeti is
Yes.
the thing, that is the what I can say, that Sutre Manigana Iva, that's the string
Yeah.
which puts all our actions together into a beautiful garland, you can say. So Bhakti, that is also highlighted in the Kathopanishad. So that is I would say, even anything, whatever you do, have the Bhagavad Bhakti in you, and when you do the action, definitely every step, every drop matters, they say, So in that way, Bhagavad Bhakti is important in all our actions.
Wonderful, Ma. With that, let our continued discussions and dialogue and everything that we learn on the path of spirituality help us build that string and offer that string to divinity, offer that string to the Supreme. With that, again, thank you so much. Humble gratitude to you for investing some time and sharing your perspectives. Always good to hear from a practitioner. It always helps because then people know that there is somebody practicing this and talking it and more implementing it as well in real life. So, with that, thank you again. We'll see you again next time on a different topic. Till then, again, stay blessed and stay healthy. Thank you, Ma.
Thank you so much, Maheshji. Thank you once more for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. Take care.